Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's your brother Mufasa Mujadid Al Hama, and I am back again with this Quran and Sunnah part 3, or Black Liberation according to the Quran and Sunnah part 3. And as you have tuned in, I have some other things to share with you, inshallah. But before I continue on this thing, I want to do a recap real quick. So in Quran and Sunnah, Black Liberation Part 1, we discussed how Asabiya, what is Asabiya and what is not Asabiya, and what is those defining qualities that make up Asabiya. This Quran and Sunnah Part 2, the Black Liberation according to the Quran and Sunnah Part 2, was about me telling you about the doctrine of white supremacy, as far as blacks being created as beasts, or created as slaves, or created as servants to white people as a whole, as far as them benefiting off of us and having us in subjection in either a systematic form or as an individual. I have not gone fully into other parts of it, but that will be coming soon in these coming up series, inshallah. So now that we know what that blacks, according to their religious racial understanding or fanatical beliefs and actions, is that us blacks are created to serve them as slaves, and that they have vowed that they will do whatever it takes in order for us to continue to be up under their oppression. I will now go into another area as to showing that actually us as a people, we can be independent and be a nation like anybody else, or have black independence or independence like anybody else. Okay, and that this is not haram to be that, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us into different tribes and different nations, and that it doesn't mean that we have to be under other tribes and other nations in order to be Islamic. Or some of you out there that are not Muslims, we can still be a people, a nation to ourselves that govern ourselves. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to get into exactly today what facade is, and show that this system of white supremacy, or asabiya, or facade, whether it be in the systematic form or whether it be from the organizations of white supremacy like the KKK, the skinheads, the Christian identity movement, or those who believe in the Nordic religions, who believe in scientific racism that says that white people are the evolved species, and therefore they, by that natural selection or right, have the authority over mankind, and they will strive to exert that and get us back in order. Because right now we're out of order according to all white supremacists. Black people are out of order. We are supposed to be, they would like to see us even more in subjection than we are now. And we are right now under a system of white supremacy, except that we're under a northern system or style of white supremacy, right? That is more particularly of the Jewish persuasion, so to speak. But the white Aryan persuasion would love to have us also under their form. And so it's a sort of a combat between the two of who will be the supreme ruler over blacks and who will benefit off of black labor. Okay, and so what we have to understand before we get deep off into this is that yes, there may be other people who are sometimes oppressed, but see, you got to understand a doctrine that has been made specifically targeting ours, that we have been created to be a slave. This is the difference. Other people is circumstantial oppression. You understand? They can work within the system to elevate faster, so to speak. And then the little fews and fews out there who do not elevate, it would be attached to them as them just merely just being, lazy and not taking advantage of the benefit that they inherently have a right to have. Okay, with us, there's going to be more type of roadblocks put up there because this religious racial ideology is out there. And what I want you to understand is that the white supremacist groups and organizations, they are the people who teach. They are the people who teach the racial doctrine. And then they send people off into the police force, the military, the different facets of society. Okay? And there is where they recruit from also. So we have to understand this very clearly. Okay, so what I'm going to do, before I get into that, I should have said the dua. So I will say it right now. Praise and glory belongs to Allah, the eternal absolute, who is Al-Qahar, the dominant, and who guides his servants through the heart, or through the ruh, or through their qalb, to understand the clear path from what is right and from what is wrong, and the revelations that he has given to the prophets make us to know furthermore specifically what the penalties are for violating what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said and revealed is right, and warn us from doing what is wrong. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last messenger. And I bear witness that he has revealed a revelation for the benefit of all mankind, that all are to be justly treated and all are not to be oppressed. And I also bear witness that we are those who are the most oppressed, and we have been gone through it the longest, and that's why due attention must be paid so that we can finally destroy this white supremacist asabiya and facade once and for all, and that jihad must be waged unrelentlessly towards them, against them, until they are uprooted. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Indeed, Allah will give those who strive against oppression success. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, so we covered the topic about the doctrine that blacks are created to be slaves according to this religious racism doctrine. Today I want to show you how much they need us, and I want to show you that we can actually be an independent nation, and that you have to understand that us blacks must be independent. Because see, those enemies of ours, they believe that God gave them the mandate to have us in oppression and as slaves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ever revealed that this type of oppression, of hoarding the wealth, of keeping people down, is not his ordainment. And so therefore the Muslim, especially the African Muslim or African American Muslim or the Kasambo Muslim, if you want to call us that, we must rise up and fight in the jihad against this oppression, against this false doctrine, against this lie against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's not just a belief. Had it been the issue of a belief, we would not have an issue with it. But it's actions that have been proved on an economic level. It's actions that's been proved on the street level. It's actions that have been proved all throughout history. They have never left us alone. But we've actually tried to turn the cheek and leave them alone. But the time for that is over with. So today I want to show you what we are contributing as a people to this country. Okay? And to show you that they need us, and that we do not need them, and the fact that, and they know they need us, and they say that, and they bear witness that they need us, some of them. And that's why we are to be their slave, so that they can benefit from us. And so we got to understand that the news media that's put out there, the negative images, is designed to keep us thinking we cannot do nothing on our own. And that's a psychological slavery. Okay, so that we stay in oppression, so that we stay in subjection. So first, what I want to do, I want to name some names. I want to go through a list of people, and I want you to look them up. See, I'm not a teacher, and I don't want nobody to think I'm a teacher. I'm an awakener. If you haven't seen my Facebook, you've seen that on there. If you have a Facebook, if you've seen it on Facebook, if you're not, well, inshallah, you type in Mufasa Mujdid and you'll see me on Facebook too. But we've done a lot of things in history, and they've sucked off of us. They've leached off of us, and I'm not even talking about slavery. I'm talking past slavery. See, we built this country off of our slavery, but they, in their mentality and psychology, say, well, that's what you're supposed to do. I don't understand the problem. I don't understand your Dracomania. Dracomania means that when slaves used to run, they had it as a disease, that we were unsatisfied and ungrateful to, we was ungrateful, and that we should be grateful to be their slave, and that if we ran, there was something wrong with us, that we was going against the order of God, that we were being heathen. Okay, so this is the psychology of these people. This is the psychology of this movement or organizations. Okay, to them, if we do something that is great, that is supposed to serve them, because they have the divine right to be served. They have the divine right to eat off of us. And we do not have the divine right to complain. And if we do complain, then we are rebellion. We're in order. They sort of twisted a concept that God says you accepted the qadr of Allah. Well, they twisted into, you can't complain, you slave nigga. You complain, it's Dracomania. Or Drapomania. And we'll get maybe inshallah to that word too. So, we've done lots of things. Let's see, what have we done? We won the Civil War. The South was losing, or the North was losing, so they called us in. Okay? And we defeated the South. Had we not defeated the South, we could have defeated it on our own. 20 years before that, Henry Highland Garnet, who was an independent, who wanted independence, urged us to fight in a war to raise up and defeat the South by ourselves. But Frederick Douglass, who believed in the doctrine that whites are superior and that we were created as beasts of the field, urged us to join into the Civil War and fight underneath them. Okay? But we won a Civil War. We also won the war against Germany when the United States was losing. We won that war. You see? We've been continuously winning battles for them, but have not won the war for us, for independence. We started our independent war with the Stonewall Rebellion, with wars, the Black Seminole Wars, the Gula Wars, the Fort Negro Battle. And it wasn't until the time of Frederick Douglass that we had a change in this philosophy of being under this system, of being under white supremacy. We followed a person who made us think that it was beneficial. And since then, slowly, we've been devolving as a people. We've been coming apart as a people. Underneath this system, the drugs, the gangs, the split up between the man and the woman, and when we get into the series more, I will show you that they have engineered this step by step to tear us apart, so that we remain subject, so that we do not get independence. And the time has come for independence. If we can fight civil war and win, if we can invent many things, then we can do it for ourselves. And as a matter of fact, if we do it for ourselves, that symbolizes to them disorder. That symbolizes that we are being ungrateful. That symbolizes to them that we are going against the decree of God, because He created us a slave. And Obama himself can't really identify with us, because his father was an African who was never enslaved. So he has no ancestry part of that. And his mother was white. And so typically whites have this blindness about them when it comes to these subjects, or they don't know how in depth it goes because they have not experienced it on the level they've experienced it, and have not been subject to a doctrine of religious racial extremism that says that specific people are to be slaves forever, indefinite. It's different from indentured servitude, where you can get out after a couple years. You serve, and you, for the main part, you have your language and your tribe, and intact, and you have an identity. You're Irish, you're German, you know these things. So you have an identity to fall back on and to be proud about, or to look at as an example. Okay, versus the people that don't, who try to be everything. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna name off some names. Then later on, after I name this off and put the example down, then I'll get into Quran and Sunnah. Okay. So what have blacks contributed? I'm not gonna go into a long list. What have we contributed? What could make us think that we could be independent? Because the news media, they'll have you thinking there's no way. And many of us believe it. There's no way we could look at blacks get together but we've been doing pretty good lately. Okay, we've been doing pretty good lately with the black unity movement. But it has to be more than just some unity. It has to be about independence. Unity means nothing without independence. Independence is the essence of all nations. Independence is the essence of all things in life. Okay? So we're going to name off a few. Then you'll see how much we've impacted. First, I'm going to call Jesse Russell. Jesse Russell, one of our people. What did Jesse Russell do? He is the inventor of digital signal processing. Digital signal processing. Go look it up. Jesse Russell, inventor of digital signal processing. And that is what your cell phone does. Had you not had that, you wouldn't have a cell phone. A cell phone is nothing but a big old thing that does digital processing. Can you imagine your life without a cell phone right now? Can you? We did that. We did that. Some of you be like, he did it. No, every people come from a nation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created everything in pairs. For everything he created, there's pairs. And that is the beginning of a nation or a people. Aqawmi wa qabiltu. So don't just say, oh, it's just his person. No. He had to push himself. He has a legacy of slavery. He has a legacy of being oppressed. He has a legacy. I have to do this. I have to push it. I have to, See? Now, even without that, he would have that geniusness. Okay? He would have that geniusness. There's a melanin factor here. And of course, the decree of Allah with that melanin. But we'll get into that, some other time. We're talking about what is, not what could be, or what would have been. So, signaling process is what is in your digital signal processing is what is in your cell phone. Now, how much has the world been impacted by that? How much has the world been impacted by that? So they know who we are. They know what we're capable of. This is why they created the doctrine. Would it be a slave? Anything good we do that take benefits from it. And when we bring this up, in their mind, that's what you're supposed to do. So what do you want, a cracker? What do you want, a cookie for that? Kudos for you, okay. Get to work, lazy nigger. Next person, Benjamin Banneker. Benjamin Banneker. What did Benedict Banneker do? He invented the clock. You know, you tell time, clock. Frederick McKinley Jones. He's the one that invented truck refrigerators. He also invented refrigerators for hospitals and the military. Not I'm bragging about it, but I'm saying, do you see? What would you think if you didn't have refrigerators? Refrigerators. That when you go to a hospital or when you go to a building, there's a refrigerator in there to keep food. What would hospitals be like if they didn't have refrigerators? How would they get the food to all those patients? We did that. Now, picture us as a nation of our own. Stoplights. We would have clocks. Clocks we made for our own selves. And then we could benefit the world after we've, become independent. Clocks. Signaling processes. So we would eventually have the cell phones. We would have benefited the world's cell phone. We had refrigerators for hospitals and the military. So if we had our own military, they would have refrigerators. If we had our own military, they would have their own hospital with refrigerators in it. Or even something more. Garriott, a man by the name of, by the way, that was Frederick McKinley Jones' refrigerators. That was 1893, and he died in 1961. So we're not talking about back in the slave days. We're talking about recently. They've been sucking off of us and leeching off of us. But they give us crumbs because that's what a master's supposed to do to a slave. You get crumbs and perks and little hand-me-outs and a pat on the head, a little medal, when you could have had all the gold, so that you can service mankind better, so that you can be the example to the world, as you can be your own independent nation and benefit to the rest of the world as your own people. And you could say, listen, China did this, but we did this. And we all throw, as mankind, different nations, as mankind, we throw everything into the pot what we can do and help. But they shut us down from that. Instead we're, I'm American. You're American. Really? Yeah. You built this country as a slave. Thank you. You invented things as a slave. Thank you. Well, we'll take that credit. We're going to still oppress you though. Because you're a slave. You're a beast of the field. That you're pulling your weight like an animal supposed to. So Frederick McKinley invented the refrigerators. Garriott, another person. Garriott Augustus Morgan. Garriott Augustus Morgan. That was in 1877 and he died in 1963. What did he invent? He invented the gas mask, and the traffic signal. The traffic signal. Can you picture traffic without traffic lights and traffic signals? How much of the world has been affected by traffic signals? They keep us down. They keep us down. We can do it. We have the capacity to form our own nation. We won the war in Germany when they was losing. We won the Civil War when they were losing. They eat off of us. We need to understand how they eat off of us. They do like Pharaoh did with Musa alayhi salam. What Pharaoh did with, and I don't believe the Pharaoh is the Pharaoh of Egypt. I just don't believe it was in Egypt it happened. We'll get into something like that. We're not even going to debate about that. That's a whole different issue. But Pharaoh divided the people into different groups and sects and oppressed one group and elevated another. Okay, they got the economic benefit. And the same thing with today with the white Zionist Jews who are the heads of white supremacy, who run the banks. It's not anti-Semitic. It's a fact. They won Hollywood. They invented Hollywood. You don't believe that either? Conspiracy just means people get together and do something. And if people can conspire to play basketball and organize basketball, then people can conspire to make money off of people. So don't give me that conspiracy theory thing. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. This, all this is coming to the forefront. We need to know this because it shows the potential that we have as a independent nation. Okay, it shows the potential, and they want to take the profit from that potential. They use their little news media, their witchcraft, their Hollywood, which just means magic. Go look it up, Hollywood. It means magic basically, and that's what they do. Oh, black people are this, black people that, the other. But then over here, they benefiting the whole time. If they leave us alone, we'll be independent. They know this. We'll eventually light a click on. So Gary Augustus Morgan invented the gas mask and traffic signal. Dr. Charles Richard Drew, 1904 to 1950. He gave the correct understanding to blood plasma, which today is how you have your blood banks. They have that understanding that he invented. Mashallah. Okay? Had it not been for, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala putting that in that man's mind or any of this in any of these people's mind or heart, he wouldn't even be here. Unless Allah willed it some otherwise, and we can't speculate on that. So we can only talk on what we know right now. And what we know is here because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose it to bring it through our people. And that is the fact. So blood banks. Again, Dr. Charles Richard Drew gave the correct understanding to blood plasma, which led to them the understanding to have blood banks. A sister by the name of Dr. Betty Harris. She was a chemist. She invented spot tests. Okay, and what that is basically, from what little I understand of it, it is when they take, they're able to identify explosives in a field. Where the explosives were at and how it, exploded and things of that nature. I mean, in war, you're going to need that if you're going to use missiles. If you're going to use missiles and explosives. Okay? How something exploded, how far it will explode, how, where, just those type of things. Had it not been for her, they wouldn't even have it. In this military. So in the military, they got refrigerators. The same military that you work, our people are side by side. Some of our people, it's so hard in the hood. They feel in order to escape the hood in the economic oppressed positions, they have to join the military to get out. Maybe it's a chance. And this is how you pay us back. You pay us back like this with all the stuff we did. But again, your psychology, that's what you're supposed to do when you're a beast of the field. So there's no way that you can appeal to them to make them feel grateful. They're not. See, when a person believes God ordained something, they're not going to feel grateful to you. Why? How? You're a beast of the field. So the only option is the black independence. And they're not going to let you. Northern or Southern. Okay. Dr. Patricia Bath. 1942. And in 19 Oh, she's still alive, from what I understand. She invented the laser phaco, which is spelled PHACO probe. Laser phaco probe that gets rid of cataracts with laser. Can you imagine how many blind people would be out there suffering? Has she not invented? Had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not put it inside her mind? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ar-Rahman. He gives mercy to the believer and He gives mercy to the disbeliever in this world. Usually that's applied for, when you say Ar-Rahman, from what I know for a fact, I'm going to use this. I call it a mercy, But usually when it says Ar-Rahman, it's talking about the rain from the sky and the foods that He gives believers and disbelievers. Right? So, but I said that's a mercy that He gave her the ability to have that intelligence, to be able to see that and to be able to benefit other people. Yet, how do they treat us? We're in servant capacity. All these things we've done, we're in servant capacity. See, we're not in independent capacity. And so we can't say we won any war. We've won some battles, but it was on the behalf for others, not for ourselves. They take the benefit. Okay, another person, Valerie Thomas, 1964, and I believe she died. She to me, it's mysterious. She had worked for NASA, another blood sucking, another credit taking thing. But she invented the illusion transmitter. The illusion transmitter, and what does that do? That is the thing that how satellites works. The satellite that you see has the illusion transmitter. Had it not been for illusion transmitter, there would be no satellite. There'd be no satellite. Did you see how they benefit? Traffic lights, traffic signals. How would traffic be without us? The refrigerator for the military and in the hospitals. How would they be without us? Okay. The illusion transmitter to make the satellites work. How would they be without us, without using us? We don't need them, they need us. We don't need them, they need us. Wake up. Black independence. We can form a nation of our own. Now, what was the brother's name? What was the man's name who won? Oh, that's the brother's name who won the German war. Freddie Stowers. Okay. His contingent, if you want to call it that, was the one the longest out there in the fields. Okay, straight. And they were called the Harlem Hellfighters. Harlem, the capital of Black Power, or used to be the capital of Black Power. A lot of things came out of there. Black Power, I mean the movements for Black independence. You see, ever since, in my opinion, and from what I see, since the Stoner Rebellion, the Seminole Wars, up to the time of Frederick Douglass, we've been co-opted. These other leaders that came in, they've been Masons, Freemasons, Black Boule, and all those black organizations are for is to keep you from black independence. They say black pride or black power, and some of them don't even know. Some of them don't even know that they're under this doctrine, and some do, and they've sworn oath. Yes, master, we believe you're the superior race. Yes, we will serve you. Yes, we'll go shut that nigger up over there. We'll co-opt him. He's sitting there talking about black independence. We'll go do away with that. But we'll give you a false sense of pride of being black and black economics, short of black independence. Anything short of black independence is subjection, is slavery. All this right here is still slavery. All we did is subjection. It's still the. What does Allah say about giving just measure and weight? What is the word facade in the Quran? It's not just corruption and disorder. It is, in its essence, corruption and disorder. But corruption and disorder is what? Is this not disordered? It's disproportionate. It's one group of people have circulated the wealth among themselves for their people to benefit and kept the other down through various means of oppression. We are still under the doctrine, northern style, of blacks are beasts of the field. The southern style just want to go the old route. They just want you on a plantation. Excuse me. They wanted you under a plantation format. Okay? And the northern style just expanded it. You know, and then they believe in deception, you know. They'll sacrifice a few of their own. You know, that's just how the system works. You know, the Jews got they run the banks and the, you know, the Black Wall Street and different things of that matter. All right? But nevertheless, it's servitude. It's servitude. I mean, you know, when my head so much, my kufi about to fall off. You guys got my kufi falling off. You know? Let's get into this. So, his name, if you want to look it up, I want you to look these names up. You know? But he won the war in Germany, and it's not to brag or anything like that. It's not to brag at all. You know, there is no bragging in this. If you feel you accomplished something, some of you blacks who are Boule or Black Freemason feel we accomplished something. Some of you who have sworn in the military, you're in the military right along with these white supremacists. Okay, and that shows the state of condition of our people. You're in there with the white supremacist, calling him your brother, fighting alongside him, will save his life. He's eating in the battlefield and go to war. But he is plotting to kill you. He is recruiting right now in the military. And you know it and I know it. He is recruiting right now police. And they come back out here and they kill. They kidnap. That shows we're not independent. That shows we're not in the right mind. When you feel you have to join the military to get out the hood, that shows you the economics is not right. So, I want to go look at some of these things real quick. Alright? We're going to go into the word facade. Okay, facade, the root word. What is the root word for facade? Because we're under a facade. And fa sin dal, the basic corrupt or disorder. Fasada sha'in is anything which loses its original shape. Okay. Lahmun fasidun is the meat which gets rotten. Is stinking of no use. And fasada is in fact the antonym of salaha, which means in order or in balance. Therefore, facade would mean disorder or to get out of balance. Disorder or to be out of balance. Is this balance how we're treated? Is this balance how we're treated? No, it's not balance how we're treated. And that's why it's called oppressor. And that's why the person who's doing it, or the people that's doing it, is called Musadin. It's the opposite of Muslihin. It is also being used in the meaning of causing destruction to crops and cattle. That's one form of it. And we see that this country, when places are bombed, it's not just this country, but when people bomb crops and cattle, that's the economy of a people. Some people are agricultural cultures. They live off their cattle. They live off their crops. Every nation lives off their crops and cattle in some type of way. We got farmers, our food. So when you destroy that, what does that do? It makes it so that you can put your food, your crops, and your cattle, and then tax them people. You see? So you essentially take over the agriculture of a people. And in many cases, black farmers, they've had their agriculture took over a long time ago. Okay. So that's the crops and cattle. When they destroy that, they're taking over somebody's economy that relies on agriculture. Just like they take over, well, what we do, they take it and benefit. And we get the chump change. We get the depressed version. We get the oppressed version. Don't you want to be independent? Aren't you tired? We don't want nothing less. We want like Stoner Rebellion. When we first came here, or our African side came here, because there was black aboriginal indigenous people here too, whom we're descended from, who both mixed. So this country is ours by being indigenous blood, as well as Africa's ours. And it's all from Africa. So we need to take back what is ours. These white supremacist organizations are the ones who are teaching this stuff. And they've been underground. And they've been teaching it and getting into positions of power. You need to train your people. You're in the military, the least you can do, and you're a brother, get out here and train your people. Hey, there may be some few screws loose, but it's going to save us when it's time to really go, when it pops off. We need to fight on all levels. And I ain't talking about being part of a system. I'm talking about independence. Fight for our independence. You can fight for everybody else. You can fight for them. You feel bold when you're doing that. But when it's time for you to do your own, all of a sudden, there's a click in there. But I think that we're changing this now. I think the situations are showing it's 2015 and we should not be going through what we've been going through right now. And it's not going to change if you don't change it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has called you forth to change it. And you must strive with might and main. And I'm talking to my African, so-called American Muslim brothers and sisters. Okay? Those lists that I read, those are both brothers and sisters who invented stuff. Both of you are geniuses. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has willed this for you to be a genius. For back to the word facade. So it means, corruption or corruption. All right. And in fact, facade also means to create uneven elevations, depressions in the normal level of society or social order. Now, if I go look at this word throughout the Quran, let's see what facade is. Hold on for a second, because I want you to understand you're under facade. You're under white supremacy. You're under oppression. You're under subjugation. You're under the beast of the field doctrine. And you especially are the one. Everybody else here are not under it. They're under just a system that has to operate and work. You understand? That's the difference between you. You might have some poor whites, but they're not under this doctrine. Just like they wasn't back then when there was some poor whites. And even we don't have no words that's equal ratio for them for the word nigger. Like even the words cracker. Let's talk on that level. Cracker just meant it was a description of a position. The boss, the person who cracked the whip, who was white supremacist. That's all that meant. It was a description. It's a description that we made for them. Oh, here comes the cracker. Right? Peckerwood. A peckerwood. And okay, well, cracker nowadays would be any white supremacist who is oppressing us and causing physical harm. That's the modern day understanding. But back then he was cracking the whips on our backs, making us bow down, breaking us, trying to break us, as they're doing it now. Peckerwood was actually an area that people lived at. These were whites who lived in the hood, the woods, and that was the areas. Also, it was for a white person who would cut down a tree to hang you. So that was a specific explanation, a description of what they did. So a peckerwood, they actually invented that word for themselves. And the only time it was offensive was when a rich white would go to a poor white and would say, "You peckerwood," because now he was using in a sense of, you're a poor white. All you do is chop trees, but I run it all. So it was more of an economic between them two thing, one boasting over the other how much wealth one has, but they was in competition. They all hated. Okay, they all believed in the doctrine, beast of the field. Even the abolitionists. We're going to bring that out. I'm going to show you how your slave abolitionists, they didn't like blacks either. They just believed in the northern form of the beast of the field doctrine. And that's what they were pushing through the emancipation, so that we would get underneath them. You have to understand, it's a game being played. So you do not get independent. If it's not independence, it's slavery and subjugation. It doesn't matter how many cars you got. It doesn't matter how many houses you get. It doesn't matter. It's subjugation. Now, you can make it a little bit comfortable, but your aim and your comfort should be independence, because the Chinese went for independence. Okay? Many nations went for independence. When we gonna do it? We started, but we got tricked. And now it's time to throw it all off and recognize in 2015, enough is enough. And that we will go through anybody that we have to go through to get it. And we are capable of it. We won wars for them. We can win it for ourselves. Inshallah. By the might of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we will be victorious eventually. Because Allah loveth not oppressors. If you put it to your mind, if you aim with might and main, Allah will aid you. You have to be an example for your people. African Muslims, African American Muslims, so-called American. You see them being oppressed. You're oppressed. Some of you are living a little better. You have access to things. Okay? You got your own places where you live at. You got your own communities. Please study the doctrine, the beast of the fields. Please come up with a format where we can combat our enemies. What you think Allah's giving you this for, Akhi? Stop waving that stupid American flag. It's pissing me off. The Southern flag, American flag, different forms of subjugation. Go get you a red, you seen the flag on the intro. Grab that flag, raise it up high. We have our own flag. We don't need the flag. We have our own principles, because flags symbolize principles. We have our own principles. We don't need their flag. In case somebody is speaking on Khilafah, I will be doing a video on the word Khilafah and what a Khilafah is and when a Khilafah is allowed to be established, because somebody brought that up to me too. Well, brother, don't you think about the Khilafah? You just don't comprehend. Okay, you just, subhanallah, subhanallah, ya Allah. You just don't understand. Khilafah will remain as long as 12 from Quraysh comes. After that, it becomes a kingdom. After that, it becomes, and then it'll become a caliphate again. But under who? You ever heard of the Mahdi and Isa alayhi salam? That's another time. It's another time. And again, I'm not saying don't implement Sharia, but we got to clarify also what Sharia is too, because a lot of you have a misconcept what Sharia is. This thing about, we have it bad about, the non-Muslim, Muslim versus Muslim. The Quran, if you read it in true context, is about oppressor against oppressed. Now, if it happens to be a non-Muslim in context, like Quraysh, when they oppressed Prophet Muhammad SAW because he was speaking the haqq, and because their economics was threatened, so they felt, because they made money and economics off of idol worship, and that Prophet Muhammad SAW was teaching about La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, or La ilaha illallah, and they felt, you saying there's only one God, we're not going to be able to make no economics, and we lose our prestige. We have to fight this man to make him stop. And when Prophet Muhammad SAW performed Hijrah, they started attacking. They wanted to try to wage war against them continuously. So eventually they had to be fought. And this is where we're at. Prophet Muhammad SAW made alliances with Christians and Jews, non-Muslims. Come with me on my side, and we fight against a common oppressor. And that's what I'm calling you to. We fight against a common oppressor. I don't care if you're Muslim, non-Muslim. We have an oppressor who's been oppressors. We've been going through this longer than the Palestinians. Longer. Ain't that a form of facade too? Are we just as important? We're first oppressed. I'm not taking nothing away from what Palestine is going through. But you have been raised up to fight those closest to you who are oppressing. And that is the KKK. That is the Christian identity. That is the skinheads. That is the neo-Nazis. That's all of them who are against us, that don't want to see us independent. You will die a martyr in jihad as a shaheed. You please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you're non-Muslim, you get to be independent. So the benefit is all the way around. The benefit is all the way around. The benefit is all the way around. Okay. It's all the way around. Ya Allah. Black independence is a must. Black independence is a must. Translated as black power. It's not an Islamic to say that. It's not haram to say that. That's not asabiya. Don't let them tell you that. They just want you for their struggle, so they can be in power. That's how I see. If you're not independent, what are you? Independence is the opposite of independence is dependence. And dependence is what? Servitude. And servitude is what? Slavery. Allah has made you free. Don't make yourself slaves. You're only a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, facade. Let's look at the different meanings. According to one, okay. So we know facade means to create uneven elevations, to create uneven elevations and depressions in the normal level of society. We know, or social order. Okay. Whatever its shape may be, as it upsets the order or harmony of society. Right? According to Surah 7, Ayat 74, according to one plans of the dictator or Fir'aun is to create various factions. So to create various factions, parties, sects, and so create disorder in society is facade. And this is for the benefit that the few who have the economic wealth may rule. You see, income is different from wealth. Income is different from wealth. Wealth is like property and it can make income. I think I expounded upon that. Income is just, the currency you're making. Okay, it comes and goes. But wealth is what you have left over. Surplus. After now it's sort of like how we say it. When you pay your zakat and you have whatever you have left over of zakat, for the zakat you give, right? The 2.5. That's sort of like the concept of wealth. Wealth is what you have left over. Wealth is, free labor that you make, the labor that you make. Okay? Wealth is homes and property. And you pass it down in generational wealth to your children. That's wealth. Property ownership. Okay? So black folks really didn't got too much wealth compared to others. And I'll prove that, inshallah. Okay, but contrary to what I just saying, as far as what facade means, facade is contrary to the desired will of Allah, which is also the correct approach to life. It requires one to take away as much as one needs from the sources of nourishment and not to upset the balance of society by taking in possession the whole lot. So not taking possession of the whole of things. In Surah 26, Ayah 151, 142, the musrifin, the extravagant, are also called musadeen. So the extravagant are called musadeen because whenever there's an extravagant person, he has taken more wealth than he's supposed to. And while he has the ultimate wealth, there's somebody out there poor. There's somebody out there in need. And so he has oppressed them and taken their rights. He has lowered them. Fasad also has been used opposite of ihsan. In Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayat 31 is stated that at the time of creation of mankind, all the Malaika said that man would create fasad, disorder and chaos. And of course Allah knew what they knew not. Alright. So basically, fasad is what we're under. Now, let me ask you a question. Are we supposed to fight against fasad? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And a person that doesn't do that, then you're allowing the oppression to continue. Okay? You're allowing the oppression to continue. And you should not allow something that makes you into, no. You should not allow something that allows you to be oppressed. Allows for you to be a slave of someone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allows for others to benefit from something that you have done. Okay? That is not what you should do. Because if you do that, then you're willingly a slave, and you're willingly saying that, as the slavers say, that you accept being a beast of the field. You have accepted the Frederick Douglass doctrine. And I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of my people being shot down like dogs and animals. Our women being beat, and we've gotten more crazy under this system other ways. We become mad. This is the symptom. This doctrine is what's caused all this, even the black on black, if you call it that. We live so close to each other, and little crumbs is out there, and we're acting like animals towards each other because we're trying to get the little crumb. Black independence will solve that issue. The issue is being independent and having the access just as Allah has created it to be like. Everyone has this, right of access. So, when you see people not supporting such a thing, when you see people doing this, now I was talking about facade, and doom and oppression. And I want to point something out to you right now. And I want to show you the system. If you go to a guy, his name is John Fuller, and he has a program where, you know, it's predominantly aimed at blacks because, see, he was a banker. He taught He's taught realtors and bankers for 25 years. And he saw the redlining and discrimination. You know, people on property. I mean, we're oppressed on so many different levels. But he saw this, and so he decided to form a program that would teach us banking lingo and teach us how to own property and homes, but actually keep it in an organized format where all of us were united. So it's just not no regular teaching you how to own a home or bank property. But he wanted all of us that's in the program to take that and basically pull some more resources together and open up our own banks all over. You know, and it doesn't matter what format of bank you want to open. That's up to you. Okay. And teach other people how to, you know, teach our people how to own stuff, you know, which will eventually be a stepping stone in a view for some of us that have joined that program to black independence, you know. But, you know, a bank collects, you know, gold and silver worldwide, and, you know, it can do transactions internationally. Okay. So that's a step towards black independence. So anybody who's interested in actually trying to get into, you know, that, go to the John Fuller group program, or contact me on Facebook, or contact me in some type of way, and I'll give you the link. You can see him on Facebook, John Fuller group. But this leads into some of the tactics. I want you to look up an article. The article I want you to look up is How Home Ownership Keeps Blacks Poorer Than Whites. See how it manifests? It's not saying somebody hates somebody, but this is the economic condition. Economics is racism. The beast of the field is racism, but it's economics, but it's religion too. So you have a racial religious fanatics. You see? Okay. So this article is by Dorothy Brown, professor of tax law at Emory University Law School. And she writes, the racial wealth gap has hit an all-time high while Barack Obama has been president. The median net worth of white household is now 20 times that of black households. Why? See, a real African American, so-called American, a black person, as soon as he became president, he chief in arms or whatever, he would declare war on white supremacist organizations. He would declare war on them, especially after the church incident. But did you see Barack do that? No. Why? One, like I said, you know, he can't, because he's not the one that runs it. He's under the doctrine of beast of the field. He's serving in the capacity of beast of the field. He's like the old house Negro who was in the house. Okay, it's just it spread more. You see, plantation got wider. That was the methodology of the North. They'll let a two fuse, but nothing of us get through. But that's how they use that. You know, let a few of us get in a little bit of wealth, a little bit of money. And so what that does is make us complacent, makes us don't want independence. You know, it makes you always hoping and hoping and hoping. Oh, I can make it. Oh, I can be instead of thinking independence. No, thank you. Independence, that's what you should think every time. Nope, independence. I'll take that, please. Independence, please. You got independence, I want independence. No, I don't want your charity. Then they turn around, they talk bad to some of you that's on welfare. Oh, you got welfare. And that was implemented state by state. Okay? So, okay, some argue that the gap is is a current manifestation of a historical problem. Others say blacks are to blame. While I can't eliminate the lingering effects of slavery and Jim Crow, or change stereotypes, I can highlight one area where blacks may be inevitably contributing to the racial wealth gap. When most black people buy homes, we hurt ourselves economically because home ownership has been an important vehicle in creating a solid white middle class. Again, beasts of the field. They have to be in more superior position. But it has not done the same for most black home owners. So this is where the John Fuller program comes in, because see, it's not just about being a black home owner. It's about knowing how to pull your resources together as a people. Is there other people in the black John Fuller program? Yeah, he started letting them a little bit in because he need the clientele to keep stuff afloat. But it's for us predominantly, and so this is a race, this is a competition, and if we're talking in American terminology, that's how the system makes it, supposedly. But it says, but it has not done the same for most black homeowners, because blacks and whites buy homes in very different neighborhoods. Keyword: different neighborhoods. Redlining is when the bank tells you, no, you can't get it over there in this neighborhood. And then if they do let one of us do it, they do it a certain percentage. You see what I'm saying? A certain percentage, they'd say, cannot do it. Okay? And so they let more whites have the privilege than blacks. So we remain at a percentage lower than others of having homes in certain good neighborhoods. It's getting dark. My teeth starting to look like, whew. But research shows, okay, because blacks and whites buy homes very different neighborhoods. Now, like I said, that's called redlining. If they say, no, you can't have this, that, and this is what John saw. He was saying, oh, wow, it's called redlining, but it's really racism. But what we want to call the doctrine, I don't want you to start saying it, it's the doctrine of blacks are beasts of the field. Okay, that's the religious terminology for what they do. Research shows that homes in the majority black neighborhoods do not appreciate as much as homes in overwhelmingly white neighborhoods. This appreciation gap begins whenever a neighborhood is more than 10% black. So it's systematic. Whenever the neighborhood is 10% black, the appreciation go down. Now, what is appreciation? It's basically a way of saying the value. Okay, the value of the house. The value of the house goes down. You see what I'm saying? The value of the property goes down. When it reaches more than 10% blacks in the area, the value goes down. That is called systematic. Okay? So even for blacks that have good credit, even for blacks that are able to have good credit, quote unquote, you see the systematic oppression? See, they have a system in place. That's the beast of the field doctrine, northern style. Tell me racism isn't alive and well. This is institutionalized. And they, the people that are buying the houses, some of them may not know it, but that's white privilege that people keep talking about. You don't believe in white privilege? Go look up Tim Wise and he'll tell you. Research shows that homes in the majority of black neighborhoods do not appreciate as much, or a value as not as much, as homes in overwhelming white neighborhoods. This appreciation gap begins whenever a neighborhood is more than 10% black, and it increases right along with the percentage of black homeowners. Yet most blacks decide to live in majority minority neighborhoods, while most whites live in overwhelmingly white neighborhoods. If you think this is class and not race, you're wrong. A 2001 Brookings Institution study shows that wealthy minority neighborhoods had less home value per dollar of income than wealthy white neighborhoods. Okay, wealthy minority neighborhoods had less home value per dollar of income than wealthy white neighborhoods. The same study concluded that poor white neighborhoods had more home value per income than poor minority neighborhoods. And all that is economic right there. All that is beast of the field doctrine. See, when you're being successful, you got to go through it. You see? The same study concluded. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Love you. Okay. The same study concluded that poor white. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I love you too. Home life. The same study concluded that poor white neighborhoods had more home value per income than poor minority neighborhoods. Again, the same study, not done by blacks, the same study concluded that poor, now, hold on. Why would a white institution do that study? Because they're checking to see if they're in line with what the beast of the doctrine, the blacks are beasts of the field doctrine states. They have to make sure that they're staying in line. So they do these census, they do these statistics, and then they publish it. And then those who have most of the money say, okay, we're in line. We still got the, now this is how much can we afford to give to these blacks in order to keep them dependent and not going for independence. You see the game? The same study concluded that poor white neighborhoods, so this is addressing, hey, I mean, I understand there's poor whites. There was poor whites in slavery time too. But they still, you know, the rich whites, which were the most predominantly Jews, you know, white Jews, they would say, well, and nowadays it's manifested that they run the banks and Wall Street and stuff like that. And the poor whites have become mostly the middle class, you know, and sometimes they allow, you know, they ascend. Put it like this, they're not beasts of the field. Okay, they might be disliked, but they're not beasts of the field. So we're the lowest either way you want. And they're in competition war with each other over who's going to get the benefit off of us. Okay. So the same study concluded that poor white neighborhoods had more home value. Poor white neighborhoods. More home value per income than poor minority or poor black neighborhoods. So even the poor white has more in value in his home than ours. Because again, why? They were not created to be the beasts of the field. And they can solve their situations. But us, it's going to take a fight. Know the difference and understand. The Brookings study was based on a comparison of home values to homeowner incomes in the nation's 100 largest metropolitan areas. So that means the areas that they compared were all, the population was big black. Because metropolitan areas have a lot of blacks. Right? So they compared it. White versus blacks. So they still compare stuff on this line, on this dynamic. Because they need to keep the balance where they have the ownership. Where they have the power. They have to make sure. Okay. Largest metropolitan area, and it found that even when homeowners had similar incomes, so now we're dealing with homeowners, black and white had similar incomes. Income, remember I told you, was different than wealth. It's different than wealth. Okay? And it found that even when homeowners had similar incomes, black-owned homes were valued at 18% less than white-owned homes. The 100 metropolitan areas were home to 58% of all whites and 63% of all blacks in the country. These conclusions are supported by a large body of research. Put simply, the market penalizes integration. So, you've been taught this whole time we're integrated, but we're not. Not on the economic level. So what they basically did is they economically ostracized us, but they make us integrate, being dependent on their system where we're on the bottom. So we're integrated to the level that we're on the bottom, which is what the Abraham Lincoln, I call it, Abraham Lincoln doctrine was, that whites were to be always superior in the Northern style. And Frederick Douglass, who was the black, who nowadays would be a Boule, and people like that, said, okay, I agree, I take the oath, I accept that, and I will make sure that no one tries to get independence, and I will make sure that that we will serve you in the best of our capacity, as long as you give us some crumbs, and we're satisfied with it. See that? So these conclusions are supported by a large body of research. Put simply, the market penalized integration, true integration, economic integration, where we all have equal share, doesn't exist. You're dependent. You're not independent. You're subjugated. You're still a slave. You're still under the beast. You're the beast of the field. Okay. The neighborhood. Okay. The conclusions are supported by a large body of research. Put simply, the market penalizes integration. Who controls the market? The higher the percentage of blacks in the neighborhood, the less the home is worth, even when researchers control for age, social class, household structure, and geography. So if you moved into a wealthy place and the whole 10% black wealthy place, the value is going down, automatic. You could be nice and clean and sharp. You don't have to be a thuggish, ruggish gangster, and the value is still going down, because you got to remember, this wasn't about thugs. This wasn't about gangsters. These are about black homeowners. Okay, they move, they start owning places, the value goes down. So don't think don't think that you're going to work your way up this. We just want independence. The white supremacist organizations are the teachers of all this. Okay, the Jews are the head. The Jewish white supremacists, they're the head of it. The Jews who own Hollywood, here's how you know they're connected. The Jews who own Hollywood create their first movie called Birth of a Nation, and featuring the KKK as the saviors of, white society. And then people joined the KKK. See that? Now, the KKK is supposed to hate Jews. And the second thing is, all these white supremacist groups keep talking about, oh, blacks are criminals, black are thugs, black are this. You're supporting the Jewish paradigm. Yet you say you hate Jews, but you're liars. Because if you bear witness that they run it, then why the hell is you mad at us? Why the hell is you against us? Because your belief, we're beasts of the field. And you're just another segment of the Jews who created you. And you're in competition. You're just a rebel breakaway. You're in competition now. Okay? That's all that is. How you gonna recruit people to your white supremacist organizations, your Aryan Brotherhood, your white Aryan Resistance, and all that, and point and use as your call the criminality of blacks, which originally they called us criminals because we rebelled against slavery. That's what the reason why they called us criminal in the first place, because we rebelled against slavery and we rebelled against being beasts of the field. So nowadays the white supremacist movements try to use that and recruit, but then turn around and say, well, the Jews run it. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's just, blame blacks and all the things society, but know that the Jews run it. But then, use it as your recruiting tool against blacks. When you should, in my right mind, if you was being used, in my right mind, I would make a bid to take you away from being used. I would recruit you. You see, if I had an enemy and I knew that my main enemy was using that thing to commit crimes, I would then turn around and make sure the economic conditions were not there so that they wouldn't commit those crimes. And then I would recruit them, you see, to fight. That's my main enemy. I'm going to recruit these. But what do you see these white supremacists do? Nigger, you're the blah, 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 blah. See what I'm saying? It's because they don't want to get rid of the supposed main enemies, the Jews. No, it's not. Because if they were your enemy, then the KKK would have never allowed a Jew like the name of Judah P. Benjamin to join the organization. So get out of here with that baloney. Get out of here with that mess. I'm going to finish this real quick. The 100% metropolitan areas were home to 58% of whites. Okay, those conclusions are supported by a large... Okay, I already read that. Okay, a 2007 study by George Washington University sociology for Professor Gregory D. Squires comments on why most whites avoid racially diverse neighborhoods. Evidence indicates that it is the presence of blacks and not just neighborhood conditions that often associated with black neighborhoods, i.e. bad schools, high crime, that doctrine again, the criminal doctrine, that accounts for white aversion to such areas. But why ain't the whites checking the ones who run it? We don't run the economy. See? We don't run Hollywood. We don't got control of our image. If we had black independence, we wouldn't have that problem, would we? No, we wouldn't. We would. But they avoid it anyway, instead of dealing with it. You know, in one survey, whites reported that they would be unlikely to purchase a home that met their requirements in terms of price, number of rooms, and other housing characteristics in a neighborhood with good schools and low crime rates if there was a substantial representation of African Americans. So even if the crime was not there, they still would not purchase the homes. You see that? Beast of the field doctrine. We need independence. We need independence. This is their institution telling us. When blacks buy homes in the majority minority neighborhoods, we increase the racial wealth gap. Whites who want to experience racial diversity at home also pay dearly. See? Because they're not in a valuable neighborhood, because the system ain't set up like that. So they rather not just be there. Of course, home ownership has significant benefits, even if it is not a great financial investment. Homeowners generally experience lower crime rates and better schools and municipal services. Also, not all black homeowners increase the racial wealth gap when they buy homes. Blacks who live in overwhelmingly white neighborhoods win as long as they remain a very small part of the community. Once they increase, the whites move out and the value drops. The value starts dropping down when a significant amount move in. That's enough of that. It's enough of that. You want to read the fuller article? Look up how home ownership keeps blacks poorer than whites. We're under a system of dependence. Okay? Period. So, and that's all modern stuff. That's not slavery. Back in the day, some of you want to make that excuse. That's not slavery from back in the days. That's now. Because it's continued from then till now. You thought it was over with. I keep telling you. It's never changed, just a tactic. But the belief is remained the same. It's just the plantation got wider. Okay? I see it's getting dark. So, hold for me for a second. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says inside the Quran, don't circulate the wealth among the few, right? And yet that's what they do, right? That's what they do. And so, definitely, we're in a bad situation. We're in a bad situation indeed. You know, inshallah, we will find some way about of this, and that's only black independence. Anything less is slavery. Anything less is subjection. You know, anything less is asking us to be a slave. Okay. We've given it time. We went the Martin Luther King route. We went the Malcolm X route, the ballot of the bullet. We tried the ballot. We had a president. Even this black president was, excuse me. Even this black president tells you racism is not over with. You know, so black independence is the only cure. That's the only cure. Ain't nothing else. There's nothing else. Okay? Any Muslim, any non-Muslim that tells me black independence is wrong for us, you're a slaver. You're an enslaver. I don't care what language you speak. I don't care what faith you have. All this we've been going through more than 400 years in various different ways. We're the strongest people in the world. So we've been through it all. Burnings and lynchings and fires and, babies being fed to alligators, our image being used in Hollywood, impoverished economic areas where people have to make money. So they join Hollywood, and Hollywood tell you have to do these homosexual acts. You have to do this to get this part in the movie. You have to do this to get this music. You have to get this to do that. You have to, you have to do this immoral act. You have to dress gay. You have to do this and this and that. And push this and push that. Just all type of thing. We have to put your face on being a thug. You have to put your face on being a gangster. Little kids grow up watching that stuff, and they're in economic impoverished places, and they say, you know what? Yeah, it's an economically impoverished place. Yeah, I'll be a gangster. Yeah, I'll be a thug. Beast of the field doctrine. It's to keep you from black independence, because they know what you will do when you're independent. They know. The problem is you don't know. Inshallah, you'll start to know. So, my intro, you see that? That's actually the name of the organization at the intro. Al-Zawba Aswad, the Black Whirlwind Jama'ah. And there's a teaching into that. We can get into that, those who join. This is a movement to upgrade and to fight oppression, white supremacy. I'm making no qualms. I'm making no hidden nothing about nothing. We're here to destroy white supremacy. We're here to fight white supremacist organizations. Literally. On all levels. That is what this is about. Okay? Black independence is a must. I'm excited just like them kids in the background excited. I'm a big kid in this sense. Because it's a must. It's a must. Okay? We've been oppressed too long. No one has been through it worse than us. You haven't had your identity took. You haven't had, no one has had. Even the so-called white slaves who supposedly went through stuff didn't go through it. They didn't even go through it. Okay? So you can't even say in comparison, excuse me, keep that noise down. See them kids? Be quiet. Excuse me for that. But hey, when I film these things right here, I'm having time with my family. I'm having a good time, and I'm having a good time. Teaching my kids, and they some sharp little kids. But I come in here and I take time for the people, and I know what I'm getting into. I know the path that I'm walking. I'm not complaining it. I know that I could be killed, but the movement won't stop because I'm not the leader. See, that's one thing we learned. We learned you can't put your leaders out there front. So now you have to have the batin and you have to have the zakir. You have to have the apparent speakers and leaders, meaning the manifest ones. Then you have to have the hidden leaders who don't come out, who, so you can gun me down the next day. It's not going to change nothing this time. That Malcolm and that Martin stuff, not working. See, I'm an image. I'm a shadow. I'm a ghost. You understand? Just like this darkness. You see how this white kufi is beaming through the darkness? From the darkness comes the light. The darkness is the life, but the whiteness makes you be able to see the life. Just like Allah says inside the Quran, 3 shades of darkness, He created the life. And then it comes to light. Right? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. This is, it's so beautiful. So I love it. Black pride, the black independence, black power. That's what I'm pushing for. So it's not haram. It's not asabi. And I love to be able to tell you that. Because a lot of people sit there, oh, brother. No. No, you can't tell me to be oppressed. You can't sit there and say free Palestine. You're not saying free me. And to the person that says, oh, well, Islam is what you think I'm talking from. Islam, this is Islam recognizing the conditions that are going on over here to a certain people that have been going on. You know, we have a long history of Muslims in this country that we're going through. Some of Muslims fought jihads over here, you know, against white supremacy. So this is already an established way. It's just that I'm reviving it. I'm the Mujahideen. I'm reviving the call. Okay? A call that's been forgotten. And this time, inshallah, we will be successful. We want complete independence. Complete independence. That's what I want. Okay? That's what we want. Complete independence. If it ain't that, I don't want it. Because it's nothing short but slavery. You know, it's nothing short of it's you know, basically it's only slavery that's going on right here. So I don't want, you know, Allah's told us to strive might and main. Allah's told us to fight against oppression. Allah's told us that hoarding the wealth to a certain group of people and wealth and racism, certain group of people, let it not circulate among the certain few. You know, it's racism, period, here. The article just showed you that. The events that's going on showed you that. Now you know why they can shoot a person down in cold blood, because to them, we're just an animal. You know, then they put it in Hollywood, these images, and our young start following it because they have no concept of independence. So they follow and grow up doing this, and it gives them so-called the justification to do it. And then it creates the statistics for them to be able to do it. And they propound that, they push that even more. So it's systematic. It's systematic. Oppression all the way across the board. On all levels. And I'm sick and tired of it. Give up life. Allah says inside the Quran. Allah says inside His book. You know, I was just, coming across this thing, and I was like, oh, wow. Sometimes I get stuck, because alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, it's beautiful, But I'm gonna go to some hadiths after these ayats and stuff. Do they, okay, ayushrikuna, bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, ayushrikuna ma la yaqluku shayyan wahum yuqlaquna. Do they give partnership to what does not create a thing while they themselves are created? Why do we want independence? Why do we want independence? Are these people, is this system, are these people, are these organizations, are they Allah? Are they the law? See? What does Allah say again? What did He say? Do they give partnership, shirk, to what does not create a thing? These people are so lazy, they can't create nothing in creation. They can duplicate. They're like parasites. They suck on everything that we do. Okay? We won the war, they suck on that. We invented the things for the satellite, they suck on that. We invented the thing for the cell phone, they suck on that. Yet they say God ordained them to suck. And they do suck. But they need to stop sucking on us and just suck by themselves. I use the term suck. Some of them understand that language. Right? Now, ayushrikuna is derived from the word shirk. And it means partner or partnership. And with this partnership is a measure of equality. Or being on par. Ayushrikun is a question in the ayah. That is rhetorical, actually. So he's not really asking you the question. It means rhetorical. But it's criticizing you at the same time, though. It means, do they give partnership too? You know. So we as African American Muslims give them partnership. Stop waving that American flag. You're not American. Wave that red, black, green flag. La ilaha illallah on it. You're your own people. You've been through your own history. You've been through your own things. You have your own cause and your own struggles and your own goals. And you have to have your own victory. You have to have your own victory. Okay? You have to have your own victory. Okay? We've had a lot of battles, but we got independence. Then after that, we can talk about, what we're going to put into the system and what we're... But you can't talk... You got to have an independence first. Okay? You see? What la yakhluqu does not create. La yakhluqu does not create. La is negation, and the following action yakhluqu is derived from the word khalq, which is kha, lam, and qaf. Okay? And it means creating and creation. The word has many little other meanings that revolve around that thing in concrete. But it means basically the smoothing rock that was shaped that way. So it has the cutting and shaping and making things as part of the meaning, as well as creating out of nothing as well. So really, khalaq really actually in itself doesn't mean to create out of nothing. It means to shape something that's already been created. Okay, a lot of people think khalaq means that, but khalaq does not mean creating out of nothing. Khalaq is actually forming and shaping and creating something else out of something that's already made in essence. All right. My whole point of saying that is this: we're a people. We want some things, but we have to khalaq. I'm using it not in the sense of being a creator, al-khaliq, but in the science of khaliq. Okay, we have to take our history. We have to take what we've been doing, and we have to khaliq. We have to become a khaliq. We must create, take something that's already here and fashion something else for independence of our people. For the independence of our people. That's what we have to fashion. Inshallah. That's what we have to do. Alright? That's what we have to do. Allah's attributes are not there just to be attributes. Allah's attributes is also to show you what you need to do. Okay? You cannot complain about being on oppression and then not make the steps to end it. Okay? These people getting gunned down all day. We're supposed to be the examples raised up. Right? When you're in this area, I mean, even some of you go by some of you are blind followers of sheikhs or, scholars, or, but they will even tell you, you worried about a war over there in Syria and establishing this and establishing that, right? But once people have taken up arms that way, even according to these sheikhs, once somebody has taken up arms, that makes it so that you don't have the obligation. But if you come over here with these white supremacists, no one is taking that on. So that means, according to these sheikhs, according to that rule, everyone is obligated to do it until somebody starts taking it up. So the rule applies here. You see? It's time for us. I'm not saying be wild. I'm saying organize. Don't worry about the formats for the jama'ah or organization that's being written out by us. Don't worry about that. We're going to learn other things about us. There are surely signs in the heavens and earth for those who reflect. Like Allah says, there's surely signs in your color. We're going to teach about melanin. We're going to teach about what our bodies do, what our minds do, what our spirits do, according to the rules and laws that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created in creation of the heavens and earth. And also, if you're not a Muslim, don't worry, you're still going to learn melanin. You're still going to learn things. You're a brother, you're my brother in creation. You're my qawmi, you're my people. And so I don't what you believe. I mean, we could sit down and we could talk about that stuff, and we can compare or whatever. But That's not the aim. Liberation, black independence is the aim. To be independent. Now, along the way, if you want to sit down and we can talk about different perspectives of belief, that's fine. Alhamdulillah, Allah's going to deal with about that issue when all of us die on Yawm al-Qiyamah. You see, he's Maliki Yawm al-Din. He's the king of the day of judgment. Okay? So he's going to deal with that. But right now, all of us can understand and comprehend that we must fight white supremacy and the oppression and the beast of the field doctrine. Okay? So that's what we got to be united, wahid. We have to have unity, against that. Let's see. Business and trade. What are the rules? And I'm gonna, read these hadith real quick. Business trade. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Surah 4, ayah 29. O you who believe, do not squander one another's wealth. Does this in vanities? Stop. The opposite is squandering. Do they squander it? See? But let there be amongst you traffic and trade by mutual goodwill. Is there traffic and trade by mutual goodwill in these white supremacists? No. See, whatever the leaders and the learned ones do in the society, people follow, is my point of reading this. So if the mentality of those who run this is like this, then most of those who, most society will be that type of mentality. You see what I'm saying? And so they don't do good trade, mutual trade. They do oppression economically. Just what I just showed you, right? The Prophet ﷺ, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was asked about what type of earning was best, and he replied, a man's work with hands and every lawful business transaction. That's in Tirmidhi, Hadith 846. The Prophet ﷺ said a truthful and trustworthy merchant is associated with the prophets. These people are not associated with the prophets. They don't do transaction and economics like the prophets. They're oppressors like the shayateen, like the devils. And what does devil mean? Devil means to devalue something. They devalue us all the time in society. Devalue our people in society. They devalue our status in society. They devalue us in doctrine. And their aim is to devalue us. So, make your character, okay, let's see what else it says. Prophet ﷺ said, do not turn away a poor man, even if all you can give him is half a date. If you love the poor and bring them near you, God or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring you near him on the day of resurrection. Our people, we're poor. We're poor. We have to give each other the real date. And I'm talking about the little piece of date. I mean, the real date is that of black independence. Okay? We have to love each other enough to give ourselves that. Okay? Because, we're under oppression. Just like Quraysh was oppressing the Prophet, hey, Medina was established. Then he went back and dealt with Mecca. And he spread the deen amongst non-Muslim allies. And this is the methodology. That's the methodology. We need independence. Then whatever is left over, we'll come back and deal with it. Okay? Because that doctrine will still be alive, in a certain type of manner. Okay? And then, while we're doing that, we will talk to our brothers and sisters of different persuasions and beliefs. And, if they choose, they choose. They don't, they don't. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. But we must be truly independent. Okay? So, that was Tirmidhi. Okay. Bear with me for a second. Again, like I've been saying, we don't need them. We don't need this system. The system needs us. It's been leeching off of us since, more than 400 years in different various ways. I mean, they get entertainment from us right now. They entertain the world and they devalue us. And they're like, well, you go for it. Well, if you did not economically make the places we live in so low, just like the article tells you, we wouldn't need nothing from you like that. And then when we try to be independent, like Black Wall Street, we try to have a hubcap to establish economic independence, a step, and we start making deals with different countries from right here in this country. You bomb it down from the ground. And then, genetics. You came up with genetics. And then, after you took our economy away, then you sit there and you make it so that we're in the most impoverished areas, and then so you form the unions so that black people cannot get the jobs. Okay, after you bombed us out of our economics, then you formed the union so we couldn't get the jobs. You let immigrants come, like the Irish and the different other people, and then you form a thing called whites. At that time, it wasn't called whites; it was called Irish and German, and they had their different names, but then they started dropping those titles and just formed whites so that they could keep us out the unions. And so a generation basically went by where black men couldn't work, couldn't provide for their family. And then you invent welfare, so that once you invented welfare, you make the dictation that black men cannot be in the home, so you separated the man and the woman and made her dependent on welfare and made the man look like he's just nothing. And the woman lost confidence in her man. So step by step, I'm tired of the games. Step by step. Then even when immigrants come over here nowadays, you warn them about black people. So they're racist. See how that works? It's constant and consistent. You're an oppressor. You're in the devil. You're a shaitan. You're Akbar shaitan. You're a white supremacist. You everything you did. And I'm talking about your white supremacist organizations, because they're the underhands. They're the main doctrine teachers, but they're the underhands too. Like if you don't want to do something legal, you don't want to kill us legally, you send them and their unofficial capacity to do the dirty work. Then some of you, when there's black unity going on, you pose as gangbangers to keep the banging beef going on. There's killings around. There's killing spiked in Seattle, killing spiked in Chicago, killing spiked in LA. Oh, all of a sudden, but we can hardly find the people who's doing it. That's your police doing it. That's your undercover police doing it. Posing as gang members. And some of them black, and they're boule and black Freemasons who swore an oath to uphold you and your white supremacy because they really believe we cannot do it by ourselves. They have the Frederick Douglass doctrine in their head, and the white and the beast of the field doctrine in their head. And so there's people black walking around amongst us who believe in this, who are given perks, and they have the influence, some of them black society, and so they keep us down. They keep us from black independence. They're another Frederick Douglass. They're another those who came after him who don't want black independence. Some of them, now you got some that are Muslim, some that are Christian, some that are this, some of that. I don't care about your title. I see past titles. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put light in my eyes to see past all that, all the facade. And I see the debauchery. I see the debauchery. And I, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and those who I'm with and those who are with me, we're gonna get black independence. Okay? You can kill me, do whatever. But when you kill one of us, haven't you seen step by step we're making progress? Doesn't matter all that you did, we're still here. We're still here by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we keep cropping up and we keep raising up in every different generation. Step by step. And you're throwing it. You see that? Why? When you kill one of us, we go back up to the black space, what you call black body radiation. We go back up to that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes us stronger. And then he throws us back down on the earth. And then we do qiyamah. We rise up. And we add another notch towards our independence. You cannot stop us. So try as you will, you've been trying. And you're not going to stop us. We are the original Khalifa of this earth. Black mud molded into shape. We are the original Sama'ah. The heavens that's in blackness with Najm, stars in his body, which Baruj, the constellations. That black, that dark radiation that you call dark radiation, you know, the black body radiation that you talk about, or dark energy or dark matter. That's in our bodies. We photosynthesis the sun and turn the sunlight into energy. We're children of the sun. See, you're not going to stop us. And you know what's going to happen once we get independent worldwide. We are the aboriginal, indigenous people of this earth, and we existed, even according to your sciences, millions of years before you appeared on this earth. And you are the ungrateful one. You are the kafir. You are the one, in this sense I'm using it not in a religious format. You are the rejecter of the haqq. Haqq means reality. See, you try to pervert everything. Pervert everything. You turn everything. You're a dajjal. You deceive everything. You change what is haqq into falsehood and what is false into what is haqq. You see, history you do it with. Who we are you do it with. Everything you do it with. You've thrown everything at us and we're still here. MashaAllah. And we're going to be here. So do what you do. You're thinking, oh, well, I use some black steel, so yeah, I could always infiltrate. Don't worry. Monday, that's not going to work. It's solar radiation. That's what I was thinking earlier. Solar radiation. Our bodies change the solar radiation into nutrients inside our body. And you're trying to figure out to crack the code how to do it. That's why you got melanin pills, injecting, yourself melanin. That's why you're taking, you have these various different ways of killing us, so you can take the organs and body parts and stuff like that. We see you. But this revival will not stop. This revival will not stop. So you plot and plan. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best of planners. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best of planners. And He puts light in the believer's heart and minds. And He raises people up, even if it's not a believer, He raises people up against oppression, because Allah hates oppression. So do as you will. But you cannot frustrate the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahu Akbar. Black independence, black power is a must. La fasad. La doom. Allah has bestowed upon me hikmah, and has bestowed upon me nur, and has bestowed upon me comprehension through various different subjects, and I know how to utilize the Islam correctly with these subjects. And I'm not tooting my horn, I'm not saying, and I didn't say that for a big eye or little you, nothing like that. I said as a statement of gratitude and bear witness in front of the angels, the malaika. So it wasn't really for you. See, when I talk, I don't talk just for you. I talk because I know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala watch it. I talk because I know the malaika is writing it down. See, so the benefit. And may Allah forgive me for any wrong that I may, or missteps I may have done, or misunderstandings I may cause, or may have caused. My intention, my niyyah is indeed pure. It's pure. And I love my people. And I just want the best for us. And, I love my people more than some of them hate themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with striving. So to my queens, my brothers and my sisters out there, I love you. And Inshallah, I think that'll conclude part 3 of this. All I gotta say is black independence, black power. Let's get this together. Don't worry about people that's getting in the way. I'm not worried about it. They're gonna get in the way. You know, people are gonna try to stop this. People are gonna come from the Muslim side. People are gonna come from the Christian side. People are gonna come from all angles. And I'm not worried about it. Black independence is what I'm worried about. Okay, if you're trying to get my people to join anything other than that, then you're not right. You see all the stuff happening, and don't tell me, well, Islam. Yes, I know Islam. This is Islam too. Okay, but see, the thing is, you want the Islam to, you're utilizing Islam to reflect what you're going through somewhere else, right? But you don't want me to put the Islam for what this specific situation is, though. You want us to have an Islam that only speaks to a situation there and not a situation here in its proper context. And I mean, how can you form the proper context when you have not been through it? You have not experienced it. Unless Allah gives you some type of supreme way of understanding a unique way of being able to bring it. But you have to understand the dynamics of things. Any type of sickness, you have to understand the sickness, and you have to understand the cure and the proper how much dosage to administer in the cure. And so we're human beings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created like this, and we can only understand to a certain point. You know? You feel what I'm saying? So I mean, I know some of you are speaking behind my back. That brother this and that brother. I'm not worried about that. Because everyone sees the problem. It's just few don't understand the solution. And solution is not saying Islam, Islam, Islam. Just a saying. Like, because Islam has a soul and Islam has a body. You're speaking the body of Islam to people. But you're not speaking the soul of Islam to people. You see? I'm speaking the spirit of Islam. I'm putting it in the right context for the situation. I know my history. I know who we are. I know what we're going through. You don't. You understand what we're going through from TV. For the main part. Or even if you're living here, you understand it. And I'm not addressing my people. There's a few of my people that are like this too because they haven't been in tune. They've been blinded by facades. But many of us are waking up. But I don't want to just be a wake up because the media is showing something. Because they have their agenda. They don't want black independence. That's not their aim of why they're showing stuff. Do not fall for the trick. But use it while it's there. For your independence. Okay. So, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Praise and glory belongs to Allah, who puts understanding in the hearts and minds of people to see even through facades. Glory be to Allah, who is the eternal absolute, whom there is nothing like, and whom there is none in comparison. Praise and glory belongs to Allah, who is greater than any description that anybody can make up. And I do have an addressing. I've noticed, and I'm going to start addressing more Shia Ahadith too. Because I've been using Ahlul Sunnah, and sometimes I'll switch off. I'll use Ahlul Sunnah in one video, and then in another one, inshallah, I use Shia. It'll be on the same subject though, and you'll find they correlate. See, that's another thing. I don't let sectarianism stop me. It's not going to happen. Nothing's going to stop me unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills it. And even then, Allah will raise somebody else up. As a mujahid, as a reviver, to push for our independence, to push to exposing certain concepts that's not correct, So, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I love all of you, black power, black independence. I see those of you who want to stop it, and it will not be stopped. Progress will be made. Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah quwwata illa billah. Peace be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. his family, and the graces and the benefits and barakat upon those noble Sahaba. Peace and blessings to both of them. Fi amanullah, ma'asalam. Black power.